heart of a bustling city, James and Sarah lived what everyone considered a perfect married life. Those who knew them had no doubt that their marriage was truly ideal. They shared moments of joy and sorrow, savoring every moment together. Sarah felt grateful every day for finding in James a caring partner and a loyal friend. They celebrated beautiful memories from their first meeting to the present, living in a warm home filled with love and affection. But recently, something had begun to change gradually. Sarah noticed that James, who was usually punctual, had started arriving home unusually late. At first, Sarah thought it might just be work pressure or transient problems. But as days went by, the delays became more frequent, and James became increasingly absorbed in his cell phone, receiving and making calls with a strange secrecy. One evening, after James returned home late as usual, Sarah noticed that he seemed tense and exhausted. She always tried to understand the reason for this change and wondered if something was bothering him. But when she asked him about his late arrivals, James would only offer a faint smile and say he was busy with work problems. Things initially seemed normal, but Sarah noticed that James became more preoccupied with his smartphone, constantly receiving text messages and phone calls, often retreating to another room to talk or respond to messages. Sarah began to feel uneasy and questioned if there was another reason behind this sudden change. One time, Sarah decided to enter the bedroom and found James sitting on the bed, his phone placed next to him on the nightstand. Sarah wished to understand what was going on in her husband's mind, but hesitated to approach his phone or intrude on his privacy. Sarah had no tangible evidence of what was happening, but her suspicions grew gradually. There was an inexplicable feeling intensifying inside her, and despite her attempts to act normally, every action by James fueled her doubts. This situation continued for several weeks, leaving Sarah feeling a mix of anxiety and confusion. She began to monitor every move of James closely, recording the times he came home and the details of his phone calls. The more she observed, the more her suspicions deepened. She felt she was losing control of the situation and that her once perfect marriage was beginning to fracture. By the end of the episode, Sarah began to question the sudden change in James's behavior. She felt on the verge of discovering something significant, but she wasn't sure where to start. Her first decision was to remain calm and not show any signs of suspicion to James. But she realized she needed to be cautious and gather more evidence to understand what was really going on. Sarah started to think about how to act carefully and look for ways to verify whether her suspicions were justified. She began preparing to face the truth, whether she would uncover it soon or not. But she knew she needed to gather all possible information before taking any action.